Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.
Warning: The Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, winner of the National Radio Hall of Fame Award, Michael Savage.
I ran all the way just to say I'm sorry.
Well, one person who's not going to be running all the way home is Julian Assange. Seems to me you better learn how to weave baskets in the Ecuadorian embassy, because this guy has taken on the most powerful establishment the world has ever seen. Welcome to the Savage Nation. And the topic that I'm going to lead with today is Julian Assange of WikiLeaks, a hero or a traitor? I have gone back and forth on this issue for a long while. But we have to look at what he actually did. Then we have to ask ourselves the bigger question, which is, what's his name? Whatever the last president was. I forgot his name already. He's been out of the news too long. The skinny guy who smoked a lot, who created the greatest surveillance state in the world, bigger than Stasi. Obama. Why would it be that the liberal, if you want to even call him that, Obama, would not try to extradite and try Julian Assange, while the new conservative administration under Donald Trump would go after Assange? That's the most interesting question of all. And I've gone back and forth on it, but I want to play some sound and tell you it's just a brief question, because it's a big deal. What did WikiLeaks do that has ticked off the head of the CIA? The new head of the CIA, by the way, is a real head of the CIA, as opposed to the phony Potemkin soldier that was in there before. Mike Pompeo is the real stuff. He is the right stuff. He was a member of the Tea Party movement within the Republican Party. That's A. He went to West Point. He graduated first in his class. Did you know any of this? Went to U.S. Military Academy at West Point, where he majored in mechanical engineering, graduating first in his class in 1986. And then he served in the Army as an Armor Branch cavalry officer from 86 to 91. He got his J.D. from Harvard Law, where he was an editor of the Harvard Law Review. He then worked for one of the top law firms in the country, if not the world, Williams & Connolly. He served as a cav officer patrolling the Iron Curtain before the fall of the Berlin Wall. Served with the 2nd Squadron, 7th Cav, and the 4th Infantry Division. He served in his last tour in the Gulf War. I'm talking about the new head of the CIA, not the stooge that Obama had put in there. One stooge after another ran the CIA. We now have a real American hero in there, and a true conservative, and a Tea Party member, who's now going after Julian Assange of WikiLeaks, I think tooth and claw, and they're going to get him. Julian Assange is a moron, because he's getting hostile. He thinks that he has more power than the CIA. It's only a matter of time until the Ecuadorians turn him in. Now, what happened there is that he's hiding in the Ecuadorian embassy. We know that. And a leftist one rather than a conservative, so the leftist will not release him or extradite him, more specifically, to the United States. However, I can guarantee you that if the CIA and the U.S. government wants Julian Assange, it is only a matter of time and money until the Ecuadorians send them back to the United States in shackles to be facing trial. And the reason is quite simple. It's money, 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 power, power, power. So now let's listen to the new head of the CIA, Michael Pompeo, and what he has to say about WikiLeaks. And I'm going to ask you what you think. Is Julian Assange a hero or a traitor? Let's listen now on the Savage Nation.
WikiLeaks walks like a hostile intelligence service and talks like a hostile intelligence service, and has encouraged its followers to find jobs at the CIA in order to obtain intelligence. It directed Chelsea Manning in her theft of specific secret information. It overwhelmingly focuses on the United States while seeking support from anti-democratic countries and organizations. It's time to call out WikiLeaks for what it really is: a non-state hostile intelligence service, often abetted by state actors like Russia.
A non-state hostile intelligence service. Let's hear the next soundbite from our new CIA director.
Julian Assange and his kind are not the slightest bit interested in improving civil liberties or enhancing personal freedom. They have pretended America's First Amendment freedoms shield them from justice. Assange is a narcissist who has created nothing of value. He relies on the dirty work of others to make himself famous.
Look, this is not the normal rhetoric of a politician. There's real anger here. He pissed off the CIA. He pissed off the head of the Justice Department, Jeff Sessions. He pissed off Peter King. And I don't think that he's going to get away with his hiding out in the Ecuadorian embassy much longer. Now, again, Pompeo was an activist in the Tea Party, lifetime member of the NRA who endorsed him, opposed the Affordable Care Act. There's a lot of things that Pompeo did that are strong, hard, conservative acts. Do you hear what I'm saying? And for Pompeo to come out so strongly against Assange has me somewhat puzzled in a certain way. Now, Pompeo supports the NSA's surveillance programs. I'm a little concerned about the NSA's overreach myself. In March of 2014, Pompeo denounced NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden's inclusion in the South by Southwest conference in Austin, Texas, and he attacked him. In February of 2016, Pompeo said Snowden should be brought back from Russia and given due process. And he said, I think the proper outcome would be that he would be given a death sentence. Well, this is amazing, powerful rhetoric. This is not an ordinary politician who simply wants Assange to come in for a trial. They want to burn this guy. They are fed up with him. And in addition to Pompeo, I can guarantee you the president himself has turned on Assange. That's if he was ever supportive of him. But in addition to these politicians is Jeff Sessions, a true American patriot, head of the Justice Department. Let's hear in clip 4 what Jeff Sessions has to say about Julian Assange.
We are going to step up our effort and already are stepping up our efforts on all leaks. This is a matter that's gone beyond anything I'm aware of. We have professionals that have been at the security business of the United States for many years that are shocked by the number of leaks, and some of them are quite serious. So yes, it is a priority. We've already begun to step up our efforts, and whenever a case can be made, we will seek to put some people in jail.
So they want Julian Assange. Now look, I don't know if many listeners even know who Julian Assange is. He's not a household name, but he's an important figure in the world of surveillance and the world of attacking secretive agencies. Let's put it to you that way. But if you look at who's attacking Julian Assange, you may come to a different conclusion. In other words, on the face of it, you could say all Julian Assange was doing was showing truth to power. And he was trying to right some wrongs. And he was really out to protect all of us from an overly aggressive surveillance state. But let's look at Mike Pompeo of the CIA. He opposed closing Gitmo. He criticized the Obama administration's decision to end the CIA's secret prisons. Criticized Obama's requirement that all interrogators adhere to anti-torture laws. So you're talking about a hard conservative in Mike Pompeo, a really tough guy who really loves America, who really has worked for America. In a 2013 speech on the House floor, then Congressman Pompeo said Muslim leaders who failed to denounce acts of terrorism done in the name of Islam are potentially complicit in the attacks. I agree with him on everything he's done. Now, he's out to get WikiLeaks, calling it a non-state hostile intelligence service, and he called Julian Assange a narcissist, fraud, and coward. In New York, there is a Congressman, Peter King, who's usually right about things. Listen to what he says in 2005.
I think this is overdue. I am glad that the Justice Department has found a way to go after Assange. I think he's gotten a free ride for too long. To me, he's caused tremendous damage to our national security, put American lives at risk, and to me, his motivation is anti-U.S.
All right, so we've got Mike Pompeo, Jeff Sessions, Peter King, all wanting to get this guy back to a trial, Julian Assange. And I have to ask you, the listener, again, just for a few minutes, I'm not going to do this for an hour. Do you think Julian Assange of WikiLeaks is a hero or a traitor? It almost doesn't matter what we think, because the power of the U.S. government is such that once they have made their case, as they have done so in the sound bites I have played and in other places, there's no question in my mind that pressure will be put upon the Ecuadorian government to extradite him. And it's only a matter of time and money before a deal is worked out where he is released from that embassy. The Ecuadorians, what have they got to gain by holding on to him when they've got so much to gain by releasing him to the United States? Deals will be made, and he's going to be tried here. But the big question is, why would a conservative administration under Trump go after him when a liberal one under Obama left him alone? That is one of the topics. There are many, many others, and I won't give you the tease on any of them right now. But I invite you to call on this Rock and Roll Friday at 855-400-7282, 855-400-SAVAGE. If you care to join the conversation on this Rock and Roll Friday, that is the number to call. It's 855-400-7282.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com.
Now, more of the Savage Nation on Talk Radio 560, KSFO.
I'm not interested. I'm not 14 years old. All right, the issue is Julian Assange at WikiLeaks. The average person walking in the streets of America who never heard of the guy, some creepy guy with long hair, I don't know who he is. Some just creepy guy. You don't know what he's doing. So now all of a sudden, the entire power of the U.S. government is after him. They want him in. They want the Ecuadorians to release him. My guess is if they will release him. They'll send him back in a straw basket if they have to. You know, $1 million will get anything you want from an Ecuadorian diplomat, as far as I could tell. So it's only a matter of time till you're going to face this trial here in America. They're going to make this a show trial. If Pompeo is against him, if Sessions is against him, if Peter King is against him, if Donald Trump is against him, they're going to try this guy and they're going to fry him. They're going to try him and fry him. So I just got an email from someone who I would describe as a libertarian conservative, and the emailer says hiring spies, as Julian Assange suggested, to infiltrate our government agencies sounds criminal. But what if those governmental agencies are acting illegally? What right do they have to be protected by the law they're supposed to uphold? And that is the crux of the matter. Now, I saw the movie Snowden a while ago. I thought it was a great movie. And after coming out of the movie Snowden, I felt Snowden was a hero. And that's because it was set up to make you feel he was a hero. Remember who directed the movie Snowden? One of the most ardent left-wing fanatics in Hollywood did the movie Snowden. And it was to create a sympathetic view. I think it was Oliver Stone. Oliver Stone has never met anything American that he liked. If it's made in America, he won't buy it. If it's woven in America, he won't wear it. If it's printed in America, he won't read it. Okay? So he doesn't like anything that's red, white, and blue. So he makes a movie turning Julian, whatever his name was, Snowden. And it was a great movie, by the way, fabulously well done. I came away feeling Snowden was simply a whistleblower who was trying to tell us that Obama was spying on all of us, and I felt he did us a favor. So now we have this case of Julian Assange. You know, if this were a graduate seminar in some course or other, I would ask you as a graduate student to compare and contrast Julian Assange with Edward Snowden, because I don't think that they're one and the same. I think that there are critical differences between the two of them, and it's worthy of discussion. But it may be, let us say, something a little more advanced than we can do right now on the Savage Nation radio program. But let's for a moment look at what Julian Assange is accused of having done. Way back in 2010, WikiLeaks posted more than 90,000 classified documents relating to the Afghanistan war, considered the biggest leak since the Pentagon Papers during the Vietnam War. And there were 100 categories of info. He released information on the hunt for Osama bin Laden, Afghan civilian deaths resulting from U.S. military actions. Well, why would he want to embarrass America like that? 2010, WikiLeaks publishes 400,000 classified military documents from the Iraq War, again providing a new picture of how many Iraqi civilians were killed. Now, why would he want to embarrass the United States with that? Sounds very anti-American to me. It's terrible when innocent civilians are killed in war. It's called collateral damage. Would you want to hear about the Germans who were killed during the firebombing of Dresden? And have pictures of the men, women, and children who were burnt to death in Dresden by Allied bombers who were trying to end the war? Well, if you did, you'd have sympathy for Nazis at that point. We can go down the list. In 2016, WikiLeaks released 20,000 emails from DNC committee staffers. Now, this is interesting. The emails show the committee favoring Hillary Clinton over Bernie Seltzer Sanders during the U.S. presidential primary. So now it comes down to he burned Hillary. Could it be that the Hillary camp is actually working with the Trump camp to bring Julian Assange in because of what he did to Hillary? But here's the big one, March 7th, 2017. WikiLeaks publishes what they say are thousands of internal CIA documents, including alleged discussions of a covert hacking program and the development of spy software targeting cell phones, smart TVs, and computer systems in cars. In a statement, Assange says that the website published the docs as a warning about the risk of the proliferation of cyber weapons. The documents are not independently authenticated. So is he a hero or is he a traitor? If he is a hero, why would a conservative government under Donald Trump with certifiable American patriots like Mike Pompeo and Jeff Sessions have such a vendetta to get him? That's the part that doesn't make sense to me. In other words, Trump could have said, you know what, the guy is a hero, we're going to bring him in and we're going to release him, we're not going to try him. But he didn't. Somebody is after him, and they all want him down. Why? Al, KSFO, hero or traitor? Go ahead quickly, 30 seconds or less.
Yeah, I think Assange, he helped bring down the Democrats. He helped bring down Hillary. And I don't know why the FBI isn't going after her with all these, indictments and all these other negative things that are against her. The FBI has the information. They should go after her.
Well, so wait, on the Julian Assange, is he a hero or a traitor in your opinion?
Well, I think he was a hero because he helped bring down the Democrats and Hillary.
All right, well, that's a fair assessment. I don't know that that's the reason that the government's going after him, by the way. Is he a traitor? Some of you are calling on traitor. Some of you calling on hero. Some of you are in the data business. I'd love to hear from people in the intelligence services. If you work for the CIA and you want to go get a voice scrambler or put a sock over your receiver, the mic on your iPhone, why don't you call 855-728 and tell us why this government is out to burn Julian Assange?
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
You're listening to Michael Savage on Really Big Something Channel.
Meanwhile, as we're talking about this, here in my hometown of San Francisco, where I'm not right now, I'm in Los Angeles, the whole city's closed down. They're saying it was a glitch. There's no glitch. It was a terrorism act. They're never going to tell you that. Someone got into the electronic grid. Maybe it was North Korea and shut down San Francisco. The subways, meaning BART, was closed down. Traffic lights were closed down. The office buildings went dark. The banks are closed. There's chaos in the streets. It sounds very much like a hack to me. Only we'll never be told that by the corrupt city mothers who run it. But I want to go back to the issue of Julian Assange. Is he a hero or a traitor? He says he's going on the attack right now, and he's making a huge mistake. This guy is not that smart. When the CIA comes after you and you're holed up in an embassy for a number of years, what is your power? Tell me what your power is here. If the guy had any brains and wasn't an egomaniac, what he would have done here was send out a dove, not a hawk. Instead, to show how smart he is and how tough he is, he now attacks Pompeo personally and the CIA. So he says there are all sorts of illegal actions by the CIA, and he blasts Pompeo personally. This is one of the greatest errors he's ever made in his life. He's gone after Pompeo just today, and he said that Pompeo and the CIA are attacking WikiLeaks for publicity reasons, and that the recent leaked documents show all sorts of illegal actions by the CIA. And then he gets cute, and he says something about the hostile non-state intelligence agency remark, which is something that is very clever. And on April 14th, the WikiLeaks founder tweeted, I am being called a non-state intelligence service today by the state non-intelligence agency, which produced Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Iraq, Iran, and Pinochet. He's at war with the U.S. government. Tell me who's going to win. Have you ever known anyone who's been at war with the U.S. government who's won? Name one person. I'd like to know who that is. Now, remember, he's not dealing now with Obama. He's now dealing with Trump. So we see that Assange has a personal vendetta against many people in the U.S. government. I have no idea what his power structure is. He's throwing these missives out as though he is the head of a nation like Russia with a military and an intelligence service. He has nothing behind him. So you say, well, what does that have to do with truth? He's truth to power. Well, what is it that he's released that's of any value to the American people? I can give you one thing, which is that we found out that under Obama there was a massive invasion of our privacy where the NSA was turned on the average American for no reason whatsoever. That's a plus. I'm sorry, that's an absolute plus. Let's go to some of the callers. Tony on KBOR. Is he a hero or a traitor? What's your opinion?
I think he probably was hero for a while. The traitor one's debatable. I mean, he's not a U.S. citizen. But the answer to this is simpler. It's simple like most things. He actually just crossed the line. So in the last 72 hours, companies like mine and others have received emergency patches to our servers and our network gear. I think he simply crossed the line and gave away real backdoors, and they can't have this.
Wait, let me see what you're saying. You are in the data business. I hear you're a data executive, correct?
Correct.
All right, so you feel that Julian Assange has given up so many portals into people's private data that he crossed the line?
He absolutely crossed the line. I've never seen patches like this before. We got 14 emergency patches on our servers. We got a bunch on our network gear. I think he gave away real backdoors, and he simply just crossed the line. I don't think this...
Why would he do a thing like that? What is he trying to achieve in your mind?
You know, I think he started as a hero. What would any of us be like if we were locked in that room for 5 years? I think the guy's just starting to go over the cuckoo bridge.
You mean sitting up there in the Ecuadorian embassy? Yeah, you'd go crazy from it.
I don't think he's thinking straight anymore.
But why would he attack? Well, let's make believe it was you, and you were holed up there, and now the whole government's coming after you. Would you have gone into a frontal assault against Mike Pompeo and the U.S. government, or would you have tried to send out some kind of dove to try to work something out? What would you have done?
Yeah, I think you do the latter, but what we may not know is he might have been doing the latter for the last 5 years, and nobody's listened. He could.
Oh, you mean he may have tried to make peace, and they said, no, sir, you're going to come back, you're going to face a trial, and we're going to execute you.
And then he dropped the big stuff in Vault 7. And these are real backdoor hacks, by the way. So maybe this is tied to what you're experiencing. Some smart kid got a hold of some of that Vault stuff and shut down the train or whatever.
You mean in San Francisco?
Correct.
Some hacking group in San Francisco shut down the entire power grid?
Sure, they're all over.
Or maybe they were using some of the portals that, or as you call them, backdoor access portals that were provided by WikiLeaks. Is that what you're saying could be?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I've been in this business since before internet, and I have never seen emergency patches to this level, to not only servers, but to the network gear. And these are from companies that you would expect are running servers and network gear. I've never seen patches like these.
Can I ask you how you define yourself politically? Are you a conservative, libertarian, liberal? What would you say your politics are?
I would say conservative, but I've grown more and more libertarian, like most of us.
Like most of us, because we found out we were shafted by the so-called conservatives. Right. Yeah. What's the definition of conservative anyway? I think my definition of borders, language, and culture pretty much defines it. And any politician who supports my borders, speaks English, and wants to protect the English language, and reasserts our culture, to me is a conservative hero. Tony, I am sending you Trump's War. Still a best-selling book, and by the way, I have a great chapter in there, which I'm not going to read to anyone right now. I would rather not do that, on the deep state. And we are now talking about the deep state of the CIA. But what's intriguing to me is that the CIA today is not the CIA that it was a few short months ago. This is the odd part for me. Do you remember what it was like? I want you to just think for a minute what it was like in the months leading up to the election. Do you remember how you felt Wherever you went with your iPhone, you felt that the government was listening in, and it turns out that they may have been. It certainly was true that any one of us who was prominent in America, in the media in particular, no doubt we had an open microphone to some pervert at the NSA who had nothing better to do. They watched us walking, they watched us talking, they watched us talking to our dog, they watched us brush our teeth, they watched us go to the bathroom. They were sitting like the vermin that they are, spying on Americans without any due process. We were all very, very upset and very angry, and we had hoped that this would change when Donald Trump came in. But has it changed? I mean, this is the big question. You know, if Mike Pompeo, who is a great American patriot, there's no question in my mind, wants to win the favor of American conservatives and wants to win the favor of American libertarians in his assault upon WikiLeaks and what they've done, I think he needs to come out and assure us that the day of spying on innocent Americans is over. I haven't heard that yet. Now, I know the argument, and it's all faulty, because the old Ben Franklin thing is pretty clear. Those who would give up a little liberty for a little security will have neither. It's a great statement. Okay, I've joked about it. But there's a certain degree of reality and truth in that. You know, many of us said, I don't care. Remember the Patriot Act? Say, I don't care if they're listening to me. I got nothing to hide. That's not the point. Your privacy is what you've got to preserve, let alone your dignity. What government agency has the right to take away our dignity is the question. I'm speaking to you from another plane right now. I'm in another place and another perspective. No government on earth should have the right to steal our dignity, which is tied into our privacy. It's that simple. And under Obama, the greatest surveillance state in the history of the world was created under that snake. That snake who, as far as I'm concerned, should be tried for treason. I am still not going to rest until they try that snake for treason for what he did to this country. But that's like whistling in the dark. No one cares what I have to say about Obama. He's gotten away with virtual destruction of our freedoms. So now we have a new administration gladly using all of these invasions of our privacy. And they want to go after Assange, who is saying, no, they've gone too far. They've done this. They've done that. I can show you that they shouldn't have done this. They shouldn't have done that. So we, the people, are sitting here in the court of public opinion, and there is a war being fought right now, a sort of public trial. It's the CIA, now specifically Mike Pompeo versus WikiLeaks, specifically Julian Assange. So it's not a question of right or wrong here, because I don't think there's all right and all wrong here. You know, in terms of power, he's going to lose. There's no way he can win. What has he got behind him? He's not holed up in the Russian embassy, is he? Somewhere in Moscow, where he has a whole government behind him. He has some, you know, little Ecuador. What's Ecuador? What, the Ecuadorian Navy has one rowboat? What do they have, an old airplane and a Thunderbolt somewhere with no parts? What is he using to protect himself? I don't understand this guy. But on the bigger picture, I don't really want the world to know about all the Iraqi civilian deaths. I don't really want the world to know about all of the Afghani civilian deaths. They're ugly. They're heartbreaking to those who died and their families. But that was not the intent of the United States government, because we have been fighting an existential battle for our survival against the worst scourge the world has seen since Adolf Hitler came onto the world scene. Never forget what radical Islam represents. Never forget that radical Islam is the worst plague the world has seen since the Black Plague of the Middle Ages. And never forget that we finally have a government that is going after this plague of radical Islam. My problem is they're not going after it hard enough or frequently enough. As I said yesterday on this show, and I'll say it again, I'll say it over and over and over again, because I know how these things work. I throw a pebble into a pond of thought, and the ripples that go out from my ideas often have effects downstream. And here's what I'm going to say, and I'm going to say it again. I am so sick and tired of hearing that the FBI or the DHS had a Muslim under surveillance who later killed a cop or blew up a school or ran people over and crushed their skulls like broken eggs, like just happened in Paris. You'll take a look at the face of that inbreed. Did you take a look at the face of the inbreed who shot the two cops? Oh, the French intelligence service had him under. They was known to them? Okay, my friends, make believe that we're at war with Hitler. Make believe we're at war with Hitler, and make believe that Hitler has put agents in the West, in every country, They're here. They're near. They're everywhere. They're under surveillance by the FBI, by the CIA, by the DHS. I want them rounded up now. I don't want to wait for any more due process. Due process is what? Catching them running over a baby's head with a 12-ton truck? I'm not waiting for that. I want them rounded up. I want them put in internment camps, and I'm going to say it again. We have cases in 50 states. Active surveillance of potential terrorists, which means these are not random surveillance cases going on. These are active because of known associations. To me, that's due process and probable cause. Probable cause. I'll go a step further for all you civil libertarians and all you liberals. One step further. What did FDR do during World War II to protect Americans? He violated the Constitution of Japanese Americans. He put them in internment camps. Think about it, because it's going to happen whether you want it or not. I guarantee it's going to happen. I'm only ahead of the curve, that's all.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com.
You're listening to Michael Savage and the Savage Nation on Talk Radio 560 KSFO.
I'm really having a great day because I got a great night's sleep. And believe me, I'm having a lot of great days because I get a great night's sleep every night on my Casper mattress. You see, the Casper mattress was invented with two high-tech foams that gives you all the support you need and guarantees that you get the best night's sleep ever. It ships for free in a box that is so small, you're not going to believe it holds a mattress. It's easy to get to your bedroom. And I love that Casper lets you try the mattress for 100 nights in your own home, risk-free. They'll come pick it up if you don't like it, as much as I love mine, and they'll give you every dime back, no questions asked, right? From its breakthrough design to its packaging to letting you try it for 100 nights, it's no wonder Casper was named one of Fast Company's 50 most innovative brands of 2017. And believe me, sleeping on a mattress in your own house is the only way to try it. It beats lying on a mattress in a store for a few minutes with everyone looking at you. So get a Casper and get a great night's sleep every night like I do. Go to Casper.com, code SAVAGE, and you're going to get $50 towards the purchase of this mattress. That's Casper.com, code SAVAGE. Get $50 towards the purchase of your mattress. Casper.com, terms and conditions apply. I'm asking you, is Julian Assange a hero or a traitor? I can broaden the question because it's tied into the whole war on terror, by the way. And it's an extremely controversial issue that is of internment camps. In fact, it's almost unheard of to even discuss it. But I didn't know that it was illegal to discuss ideas, especially since internment camps were used in World War II by the American government against Japanese Americans. Extremely controversial. We apologized for that act. And yet, in looking at the history of the internment camps, I have seen many objective historians say that although many innocent Japanese Americans were swept up in this dragnet, it turns out that there were domestic enemies amongst the Japanese American community who were working in cahoots with the Japanese government, which was our enemy at the time. Again, controversial. And I think a few more attacks in this country, a few more attacks in Europe. The Americans' position is hardening. They're not going to put up with this tolerance much longer. And I think that we're going to have this discussion probably sooner than you may think. And it's not going to be an easy one. And you're going to hear all of the actors on the left screaming about the Constitution, the very people who chew on the Constitution as a joke. Those who decimate and macerate the Constitution every day of our lives will be the ones holding it up and tell us, oh, no, you can't put the people who the government is surveilling because they've done things with terrorist groups or they've communicated with Al-Qaeda or ISIS. Oh, no, that's freedom of speech. And we at Harvard and Columbia, we don't want you to even look at them any further. We want to wait for them to blow up a kindergarten. We want them to run over an innocent mother, a pregnant mother, with a truck and crush her skull and kill her baby. in the womb. Before, well, even then we would say we have to look at the reason for it. And the reason would be that they were not given a fair opportunity in America. Or because of Islamophobia, or racism, or you name it. You're going to hear all of it. But, you know, at a certain point, the society decides to live rather than die. And they shake off the left wing, and they decide to live, and they act that way. We're also talking about San Francisco. Was this massive power outage a glitch or an act of sabotage? How would I know? Could it have been a North Korean agent? How would I know?
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.